So we're getting close to getting our house built, and they've got the footings ready, and they dug out a whole bunch of dirt here for me. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to test the soil pH, because I'm trying to figure out which trees grow the best here beyond what is already here, like what else we could plant here that will grow, and if the soil is, because some trees grow better in the front of the same tree than they do in the back. So I'm going to test all different areas of the property to see where the best places are to plant new trees, because I did that video on planting trees for fall color, because there's nothing hardly here that changes color in the fall. And the trees that change color like that need a fairly acidic, like red oaks, they need it fairly acidic, and I have a feeling that our soil here is more neutral. But I'm going to do a quick soil test, and we'll see how this soil that's up here, what pH it's at and what can grow in this area. Basically all you do is if you were doing it just on the ground cover, you'd scrape off the top couple inches, and then you'd kind of mix up the underneath stuff, like loosen it all up, make sure there's not a whole bunch of like leaves or, pieces of sticks or trees in it. Pour in some distilled water, make it muddy, and then you stick this probe in it, and it'll tell you what the pH is. I'm using a little meter, a soil meter that looks like this, and it just tells you what the soil pH is. So let's test the soil up here. I'm just picking out the grass, because you don't want grass in there, that'll affect it. So I'm just using some of this distilled water that I bought at Walmart. It was like $1 for the gallon or something. And they say this is better than using tap water, because tap water has different chemicals in it that will change the pH. You won't get as good of a reading. So it said to get it nice and muddy. I've got it pretty muddy. I probably used way more dirt than I needed to use, because you need to have at least like 4 or 5 inches just to make sure the meter gets all the way in there. And maybe I could have used a smaller bucket so I didn't need quite so much dirt. But I got it muddy. I got as many of the grass and sticks that I could see in there out. So now we're going to put the meter in, let it sit for a minute, and we'll see what the acidic level is, or the pH level is. Now it's bouncing around. You're not going to be able to read it because it's bouncing around now. At the 1 minute mark, it was right about 7, which is completely neutral. I pulled it out, I put it in sideways into a different spot just to see what it did, and it dropped down to 6.5. I pulled it out again, dropped it in a different spot. Again, it came up 6.5. So I'm assuming the soil is 6.5 to 7 here, which is fairly neutral, slightly acidic, which explains why the red oaks aren't growing, because the red oaks that we planted, they need really acidic soil. They like 4.5 to I think 6.5. So this might be on their maybe range where they might do okay, but they probably want it more acidic. It explains why the aspens grow so well here, because the aspens like 6.5 to 7. This is perfect for the aspens, which really explains why there's so many of them. The red pines and the red oaks, I want to plant those. Well, the red oaks I planted. I want to get red pine as well. I want to get some of those. Again, they're very acidic, just like the red oaks are. So they may or may not even grow here. But the bur oaks, which we have a lot of, are, again, that 6.5 to 7. So the soil here is, at least in this portion of our property, is relatively neutral. And these are really simple tests to use. I bought this, it was like, I don't know, $12 or something. And it's a real simple test to do. You just switch it to pH. You can check the moisture. You can check the fertility of the soil. I mean, we have super dry, we have sandy soil. So it's super dry. And it's almost like if you were to dig down and you were to spread this stuff out, in some areas, it's like beach sand. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this in the thing, but this is how fine the sand is here. It's like beach sand. It's not even like dirt sand. It's like literally like beach sand. And so I know it's dry. I don't need to check the moisture of it because it's dry. You could have a huge downpour and you might get a puddle for that day for an hour or something after, maybe even a couple hours after the downpour, but it's gone right away. There's no, it's dry. But you can check all that with one of these. And like I said, I think this was $12, so it's not like they're expensive. But I wanted to check the pH because there's a lot of stuff we want to try growing. We want to try growing different mushrooms and stuff. And they all have different, the ones that grow in the ground anyway, all have different acidity levels. And a lot of them like things really acidic. I'm going to, at a later point, check further back in the property where the trees are different. The trees, like even the aspen up here, are craggly and kind of like ugly looking. The ones in the back are nice, white, big, and they're big. These are smaller up here, but there's big, like really huggable trees that are aspens in the back part of the property, and we don't have that up here. These are smaller, and they tend to. It seems like they grow and they're going to die, and they're all probably 20, 30 years old at best up here, but in the back, they've been around a while. Either that or they just grew better back there. I don't know which. But knowing the pH in your soil helps you figure out what you need to do. Like we had that burn pile, we got all that ash from the burn pile. If I would have taken that right away, before, like after winter, before it started raining, before everything, if I would have pulled that out of there, I could have, if our soil was very acidic, I could have tossed some of that on it and it would have brought the alkaline level up. They would have made it more neutral or alkaline, because there are trees and plants and stuff that like stuff really alkaline, and there's some that want it really acidic. And right now we're at a neutral level. So anything that I want to plant that's not already here, I just need to alter the soil a little bit, because we're right in the middle, or close to the middle, 6.5. We're close to the middle, so it wouldn't take too much to make it more acidic or more alkaline and get other things to grow. So it's not like, if we were starting at super acidic, then you got to, pump a whole bunch of stuff on top of it to get it more alkaline, or the reverse, if you start off very alkaline and you want to make it more acidic. So we're right in the middle. It's a nice place to start. Like I said, I'm going to check all the other areas of our property and see. So I'm planting the right things in the right places. We're going to try planting black morel mushrooms, which should grow up here really well. And I think this soil is close to what they like, and maybe I wouldn't even maybe have to even alter the soil to get them to grow up here. But we'll see. Those are hard to grow, and I'm not sure that we'll be able to get them to grow up here, but we're going to try. And like I said, we're going to try and get the red pines and the red oaks to grow. The pines aren't going to change color in the fall, but the red oaks will. But they need it a little more acidic, and if I can make some of it just even slightly more acidic, like get it down to a 6, they'd probably be okay, and the other trees that are here would still be fine. So there's some little tweaking that I'm going to do, and it'll kind of be a trial by error thing, but we'll get it figured out on which trees, and maybe we can get some of these trees to grow a little nicer where they're not, some of them are really craggly looking where the bark doesn't even look good. It's like, what is growing on this? When you go back farther, like you get to the very back of our property, it doesn't look the same as the stuff does up here. The stuff looks so much cleaner back there, like it's just, something's different in the soil is the only thing that I've determined. So get yourself one of these. They're cheap, they're easy to use. You just saw me do it. You just need typically you would test that right in the ground. We just had all this dirt piled here, and I thought, let's just try it right here. Typically you do it in the ground and you just shove it in the ground. But the dirt was all here. It was an easy way to just test it and see what was going on. But it's a good thing to do if you're trying to get stuff to grow in your yard. Not a big deal, 12 bucks, easy to use. And if you like this kind of stuff, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one.